All right. So a lot has transpired this week. In particular, one event in particular I want to touch on, which is the killing of Nicole Renee Good, I believe is her name, the individual that was shot in Minneapolis by the ICE agent. First, let's hear what Donald Trump has to say. I'm interested in hearing because I think someone brought this up to him at a press conference. I think he has a response to this. Let's see.
And on Minnesota, the vice president yesterday suggested that Renee Good, who was killed by this ICE officer, was part of a broad left-wing network. What has your team told you about this broad left-wing network? Who is in charge of it? Who's part of it? What's it called?
Well, I haven't seen the vice president's statement, but he's generally very accurate. I hate to say it. I watched that yesterday, and there were a lot of different forms to it. But there was a woman screaming, "Shame, shame, shame, shame." She was a agitator, probably a paid agitator, but in my opinion, she was an agitator, a very high-level agitator, so professional. She wouldn't stop screaming. I said, this isn't a normal situation. This is a professional troublemaker. Because you heard it and I had it. Now, I will say this, the news sort of turned her down, turned her off, because you're trying to watch. She was so loud and so crazy and just not normal. When somebody sees something like that, they don't go screaming and the same words. So I guess you could say professional, but I didn't think she did a very good job. You have agitators, and we will always be protecting ICE, and we're always going to be protecting our Border Patrol.
As you all heard just now, Donald Trump was asked about the killing of Renee Good, and his response was in response to that, he basically was poking fun at and hinting, and I guess making insinuations that the individual that was also yelling and sort of agitating in the video was a paid agitator and so on and so forth. And he ranted on a bit more. So let's sort of take stock of what Trump is doing here. Trump's whole purpose, the whole purpose of Trump's presidency, is to conjure up chaos, fan the flames of the chaos, and then have the citizenship or citizenry, all of us basically, react to that, take that in for about 4 years or so, live under that kind of culture of just whatever that chaos. And again, that chaos could be driven by fear, could be driven by fear of the economy, fear of, a rampant, untamed virus, a number of things. We fear of ICE, having quote unquote military patrol the streets. The whole point is for you to live under that kind of, stressful, chaotic environment, unsure environment that is not pleasing to be under for about 4 years, for at least most of the population. And then when the next election cycle rolls around, another person will hand out an offer and say, hey, you don't want to live under this environment anymore. Take my offer to whatever, have something different, basically. And in a sense, what that individual, or again, a presidential candidate, is essentially trying to offer is to basically give you an opportunity to accept a new form of arrangement between the government and yourself. And that's basically what this is. And Trump himself was also brought on by this same kind of dynamic, right? So the president that preceded him, in this case, Biden, at least in a second tenure, Biden, right, living under Biden for 4 years. And what we saw on TV, we saw so many, illegal immigrants pouring through the border, and none of that was addressed. And a lot of it was just sort of shunned if you brought it up or whatever, right? So you lived under that for 4 years. The citizenry was upset at seeing this. Even if you were a Democrat, someone who voted for Biden, many of them were upset to see this. Like, hey, why is this not being addressed? This is kind of problematic. It doesn't look good, et cetera, et cetera. So when Trump rolls around with the offer of, hey, I'm going to tame and hamp down on all of this illegal immigration, et cetera, then the citizenry will elect to vote for that. So essentially, you can make the argument that every president is essentially setting up the stage for the next president, which then implies in some way that we all really didn't really have a choice or real choice to begin with, right? So I don't want to get too deep on that topic, at least for now, but just so you know, at least just to kind of put this here, and it'll help you sort of contextualize and understand Donald Trump and his reaction to many of these sort of chaotic events that largely being either pushed or started by him and his administration. Just so you understand what you're seeing on television or what you read on reports or newspapers, etc. A lot of this, again, is framed under the context that Donald Trump is the agent of chaos. So when you understand that, then it will make sense. It'll make sense as to why he's responding the way he responded in this press conference, or why his administration speaks the way that they do, etc. Like all of that will start to make sense. Same thing, if you even look back on Biden's tenure, like knowing that, okay, Biden essentially is sort of setting up the stage for Trump, then all of those actions or inactions will start to make sense. Like, why didn't Biden do something, at least publicly, to address the border crisis? Like, why didn't he do anything? And it was so obvious. Like, you see how bad it is. Reporters went down there. You can see people just walking on through the border, through a broken fence, and no one did anything, right? And a lot of these people were processed in the country and supported, etc. So when you saw this happening, and not only that, publicly speaking, like there was media around the kind of governmental support that was offered to these migrants that came into the country. So a lot of that is meant to sort of fan the flames around the anger, the sort of I guess just really the anger. I guess that's probably the best way to put it. The sort of the anger around what's happening at the border, right? And again, which effectively sets up a stage to elect Trump or to want Trump to win, right? So in a sense, all that you saw with Biden's tenure, and that includes the border chaos, that includes Biden all of a sudden not being mentally equipped to be a president or run for office again, then them the Democrats putting in Kamala to run on that ticket, and how and how her presidential campaign run looked like in terms of avoiding certain interviews, not performing well in every interview. And you see Trump on the other side, who's performing very well in the interviews, and he's taking on any and all interviews, at least all the popular interviews, like the Joe Rogan podcast interview. And you see, the whole thing with Trump and the bullet that flew by his ear and all of that, and him coming up with a fist in the air. Like, all of that is sort of meant to set the stage and prepare us for the reality that is to come, which is that Trump will be the president. All of that was meant to prepare our hearts and our minds for what's about to come. So now that we're living in Trump's second tenure, you're supposed to be prepared for what's to come. That's what these next 4 years is meant to do. It's supposed to prepare you for what's coming in the next election cycle. So just think on that a little bit. Again, let just tie in that logic, and it'll even make sense. Even Trump's first tenure, right? So when he ran for president the first time around and he won, his presidency was basically his presidency in effect was created because Obama was the president that preceded him. Why? Because many people in the population, many American citizens, did not like to live under Obama's tenure for two tenures, actually, right? Because Obama won the election twice. Many people did not like to live under Obama's regime. In that Obama regime, many people did not like to see Obama talk about race or race-related issues, especially in the midst or in the backdrop of so many, unarmed black men being shot and killed by law enforcement officers. Many people did not like to hear Obama talk about those things or talk about race, or again, have to live under this context where race is being talked about all the time, not even just from Obama or the White House, but even from, media and all kinds of programming around, addressing racism. Many people did not like to live under that context. If you go back and look at the media, you'll see like there's so much content and material around talking about racism and race, etc., while you have a black man in office who was very dovish about trying to talk about race, but eventually he did talk about it. And again, that led many people not to like to be under that kind of environment or have to deal with that stress of, again, seeing the black president talk about race from time to time and hearing about racism being talked about all the time. That then created the stage for Trump to win, because Trump basically said, hey, I'm not going to talk about race and I don't care about all that stuff. And hey, remember me, I even questioned Obama in terms of his legitimacy in being able to run for president because in large part to do with his origin, et cetera, et cetera. So that again prepared the state. All Obama's tenure essentially, or his two runs in office, basically set the stage for Trump to win the first time. And then Trump essentially set the stage for Biden to win, right? Because his first tenure was quite chaotic, at least at the last year dealing with COVID. It was so chaotic to where the citizenry was looking for something a bit more stable, more tried and true, basically an old veteran of of politics in Biden. And you got him. So then when we have to live under Biden, again, same thing, right? So then Biden set the stage up for Trump to win the second go around, as I explained earlier. So that's really the framing that has to happen when you try to understand, like, why is this person the president and why did they win? And then where are we headed when you start to like map out the logic of, okay, well, it was Trump, no, it was Obama, Trump, then Biden, then Trump. And then what's to come next? And then what's to come after that person? Where are we headed as a country? And what is the dynamic or the relationship going to look like between the government and its people inevitably in the long run? And that's what's been changing over the last, several election cycles, even going back as far as, and I think the most prominent view of this is like even in George Bush's era. So not senior, but George Bush Jr. When you look at his era, when he was president and what that looked like in terms of government's involvement and mass surveillance on the population, et cetera, with, again, what we endured under his presidency. Again, that dynamic has changed and evolved over time, and it's continuing to evolve, and it will evolve, obviously, after Trump's second tenure. So anyways, just think about that a little bit, stew on that. Feel free to leave comment feedback in the comment thread, and like and share this video as well with friends and family. And I will look to see if I can post more often. Something I'm trying to do. I got a new camera, so I'm trying to flex my podcasting muscle, if you will, my social media muscle. So let me know. But yeah, if you like more of this, just comment. And if you want me to talk about certain things, add that in the comment as well, and I'll look at that and I'll see, I'll sort of delve into other topic areas that are of interest to you as well. So yeah, let me know. Peace.